So at this time, I'd like to call our meeting to order. So at this time, we'll do Pledge Allegiance. And if, Mr. Morse, could you please lead us in Pledge Allegiance? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The eagle should always be forward. No. The eagle should always be forward. Okay. So can I do a roll call, please?
Absolutely. District 4, Supervisor Curro.
Here.
District 3, Supervisor Sotelo.
Present.
Hollister VFW, Brian Morse.
Present.
American Legion, Maria Spandry.
Present.
And all commissioners are present.
Thank you. So at this time, we're going to be doing public comment. This is the opportunity for the public to address the commission on items of interest not appearing on the agenda or not scheduled for public hearing. No action may be taken unless provided by GC 569542. Each speaker is limited to, it says 5 minutes, but because we needed updates, we'll just have however long you need. 5 minutes is what we would really like. And at this time, we request that any of the organizations that are here, if they could give us an update for their areas. So, so do we have any public comments? And then if not, we're going to start with Babe Ruth, and we'll go Hollister Heat, Hollister Little League, Hollister Heat, the city, and then Tremors. That's how we're gonna.
Okay, perfect. So for public comment on items not on the agenda, we're going to start with George Nava. Please approach the podium. You'll have 5 minutes.
That wasn't me.
Can't be beat. You get 10 minutes now.
I was asking for 5 hours.
Are you on? Okay.
Yes. Good evening. My name is George Nava. I'm with the American Legion and the Veterans of Foreign Wars. This afternoon, I had a chance to swing by the parks there to check them out. And I was speaking to some people from the Little League fields. And they were telling me that there is no handicap marking on the outside of the fences out there. They put some signs up, but people don't pay attention to them. So they like to have all that remarked if possible. I know we're going to blacktop it some year. I got no idea when they're going to do it. I mean, it's been on the agenda for so long that, I get a little irritated. But anyway, we should look into marking, because a lot of those people have to walk from all the way down the bottom of the hill by the Babe Ruth field, and that shouldn't be. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we'll move on to Babe Ruth's update.
Good evening. I'm Sean Penzo, President of San Bernardino Babe Ruth. Hello, and I am Jared Penzo, Equipment Manager for San Bernardino Babe Ruth. Quick update in our league. So right now we're in the middle of our spring season. We're looking quite well with kids. We have 4 teams right now, about 11 to 12 kids per team. Our summer season is coming up quite soon. We're hoping to have more kids and hopefully go to 5 or 6 teams, which would be fantastic. It's what we're used to be. We do have a few issues with our field at the moment. We were having issues with our left field lights in particular. We had an electrician donate some time to change the bulbs and get everything on the up and up. Unfortunately, he did find some problems with the wiring. It looks like some mice chewed through it, and he said, unfortunately, it's beyond his repair in regards to donatable time. We wanted to come to you guys and see if there's anything that you guys could do for us or what we need to do to help get that resolved, because unfortunately, when we do run later into the night, it is hard for the kids to see out in left field. And our bathrooms, I know, are an issue. I know we've been having some problems. I'm not sure if it's a septic problem or if it's an actual bathroom issue. I wish I would have brought it up at our last meeting, but unfortunately it kind of went in one year out the other on my end. But nonetheless, San Benito Babe Ruth, as of now, kid-wise, we're doing fantastic. Summer season's coming up. We're hoping to have more. And yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Actually, a quick update on the lights. Oscar was able to get in there and fix where the mouse chewed the wire. So the tower is coming on now. I didn't update you on that. Sorry about that. But the problem is that the ballasts are bad. So the ballasts are at the point where they can't, they're almost, how do you say it? It's time to get LED lights is essentially what it is. So really what we'd like to do is come before the Vets Park Committee and see what we could do about maybe taking those old lights off of there and putting some LED upgrades up there. So I would like to bring that before the council and see what we could do about maybe putting in a request for that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to Hollister Little League. Is Hollister Little League in the building?
Okay, we can move on to the next one.
Okay, Hollister Heat. Or
Hi, I'm Gina Nadi. I'm with Hollister Heat. Thanks for having us. So quick update on Heat. We're bigger than ever. We have almost 450 girls. We brought back travel ball, so now we have 10U, 12U, 14U travel ball, and we also started a senior division. So we have 2 teams out there right now, and so our enrollment is really high. No complaints. We put up new lights. You guys come out there. We just, with the help of my buddy Lupe from the county, he comes out and is so awesome doing the honeydew list. Like, he's really into it. So he has come out, the front of our whole park's redone. So he gets all the supplies, and then Lupe helps me with the labor. So it's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. So I'm not sharing them with you guys, just a thing him and I got going. But if you need anything, let me know. Sometimes he'll help me out there too. What else? That's about it. My big deal is about 6 years with that parking lot. I have to say, Steve, I went in there upset one day, and he had guys come out the afternoon and start trying to finish up those restrooms, but we still don't have restrooms. It's a big deal. I mean, you guys know, if you guys have about, I don't know, Babe Ruth, how many do you have? About 150 boys, or
Actually, we're not that big right now.
around 100?
We were decimated by COVID, but we're building the program back up again. So we're
Okay.
about 70.
So if we can just keep it to the podium, only reason is because we can't document what's said
Oh,
in
sorry.
the.
Okay, so there's
no.
about 1,500 kids out there any given Saturday. They did some road work. We can't get cars out fast enough or in. Once those games stop, it's congested because they did some new road work in the front for safety and a walkway, but our entrance is right there. So again, it's been approved. The money is there, then it goes back somewhere. And our main concern at Heat, and I know Little League and Babe Ruth and the Tremors, is kid safety. Sports in our county is number one, and we need to get those parking lots done and safe. Bathrooms are lit. They're not open yet. We're hoping that those get open. Yeah, but we're there 100% trying to help. We just need, help finishing the parking lot. So that's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
okay, Tremors.
Well, you both can come up so you can introduce yourselves so we can see who the players are here, because we haven't really had anybody from the Tremors here, so we'd love to have some introductions.
Bryce Munzer with the Ulster Tremors, the treasurer.
August Sigmanovia with Tremors, the rec coach coordinator.
So Tremors, we're looking at 32 teams for the spring, 441 players currently. Everything's going really good with everything with the Tremors. And then this is my last couple months. I will be resigning July 1st. So we're going to be working on a new treasurer.
Well, thank you. I know you've been there forever. I'm just going to say thank you for all your service to years and years and years that you've put into that organization, because your name, I think the only one that I've known from the Tremors. So thank you for all your service. We appreciate you.
Definitely in good hands with August here. So
Trying to keep up.
thank you.
Thank you.
Did I miss any of the recreational sports teams before we move on to the City of Hollister Parks and Rec? Okay, City of Hollister Parks and Rec.
Hello, Charles Wall, Parks and Recreation Director for the City of Hollister. Give it a little different update. We've been doing some work on our facilities at the two fields out there. I don't know if you noticed that the scoring booth at the larger field, we just recently reskinned and repainted. Soon the two dugouts will match that, so we're gonna have those painted the same way. We added some timers to the lights out there, more of an efficiency move on our part. We had to go out there nightly to turn on and off the lights. Now we can program those during the day and be done with it and don't have to worry about sending staff out in the evening. And then just other minor changes to some signage. You know, one of the things we encounter is some folks that jump the fence when they're closed for wet fields and just cause a lot of damage. So we worked with our police department and did add some signage just to try to keep folks out of there after they've been prepped for games or when it's just rained out and too muddy. Any questions?
And how is, so you're still doing the adult leagues?
We
And
are
how
do-
is that? How many teams do you have? And,
You know, I didn't come with a full
No,
report
that's okay.
tonight.
No,
No,
that's
that's
okay.
okay. And so with the fields or with the games, though, we are moving. You know, there was a couple nights there we got rained out in the last couple of weeks, but the weather's beautiful this week. So I will be back at the next and I'll bring a full
Okay.
report for you.
and just anything else, like if the junior Giants are there, just so that the public knows what,
Junior Giants will be at the other, that other field, our,
Okay.
at Vista Park. And then we'll have men's leagues, we have women's leagues, and we have the co-ed leagues as well out there.
okay?
coming up.
And then any updates on the skate park? Anything that you, because I know that had been a concern too. And I usually don't feed into this but being that this is your first meeting, what we're requesting is just updates on the skate park because
Sure.
there's been concerns about safety, lighting, trash, different things that are over there, and how we had asked before to have like some sort of QR code, like if you're having a problem, then you just, you can do a QR code and it'll give you the information who to contact in case there's some sort of problem with the field, with the park.
That's a great idea. If
So-
anything, we can put a sign up with our number, but I know people are less apt to use the QR codes nowadays, but I'm still willing to put it there along with the number. And if they have any issues, and we're trying to do a better job also. So that area was one of our contracted areas. We just recently switched that out to where our team is now maintaining that area. And I asked them to go by there daily. So we're
Thank
doing
you.
daily cleanups, checking for graffiti, doing things like that.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh,
I
you
appreciate
bet.
it.
Thank you.
And she just has a question for you.
Thank you. I guess just because of the format that it is, I know typically we wouldn't be allowed to do this, but I guess because of the way we're kind of doing it today, we've got the exception. So I'm just curious on that small softball field. It seems like there's a lot of people that kind of use that field, and there has been frustration around the field not being open when the teams get there. And so I was just wondering, it sounds like, great solution with the lights and putting them on a timer, but I'm just wondering, is there a way of working with the other leagues that are using your small softball field and them getting access versus having to wait for your staff to go out there and open the fields?
Yeah, and I haven't heard that complaint. That's interesting. And now I did hear it one time, and we found out that the field was open. It was just kind of confusion on the door. But I'll look into that further, and I will let you know. And of course, we're here to serve the community.
Okay.
So if there's any issues with that, and you can reach out to me directly and let me know as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank
And again,
you.
I'd like to welcome you to Hollister because just my interactions with you for everything else I do, you've been an asset and you're making positive changes. And so I just want to thank you for everything and welcome to the community. So
Thank you all. Very nice to be here. Beautiful.
thank
Love
you.
it.
Okay, I don't have any more public comment in chambers or via Zoom. Have I missed any of the recreational committees you would like to hear from?
No.
Okay.
Okay, at this time, we'll be closing public comment. So I just need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Second?
I'll second, but I wasn't here. I feel a little awkward with these minutes being able to approve. So if someone else would like to second, I was going to recuse myself only because I'm brand new to the commission.
So Brian, do you want a second?
I second it.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
And Stephanie, I'm going to recuse myself from that vote. Abstain.
So 3, and then 1 abstain. So at this time, I'd like to do commission announcements, and this is only informational, but so we'll start. Okay.
I'll just say hi. Nice to be on the commission.
Yes.
I'm new. If you don't know, I'm Angela Curro. I'm on the Board of Supervisors, District 4, and I'm really excited to learn about all these things. Mindy's been keeping me informed. Supervisor Sotelo been keeping me informed on the side, but I'm really excited to be on this, and I hope I can help in any way possible.
And we appreciate you being here. Thank you. Do you have anything, Brian? Commissioner Morris? Nope. Yes, welcome. We appreciate it. So what I have is I did attend, one of the things I've been trying to do is when invited, I've been trying to go, I've been wanting to go to your meetings. And so the one that I did make was, I went to Babe Ruth, and the interesting things that that we didn't know was that the restrooms were non-functioning. They're renting porta potties, and I wasn't quite clear. I wasn't understanding why so in the future, if there's anything wrong, please let us know. But I didn't understand why we weren't maintaining the restrooms like we do for the rest of the park. Since then, what we've noticed is that I've had contact with the Bambinos, and apparently the porta potties have been vandalized quite often, tipped over, or some other major problem. So I'm not quite sure why they're having porta potties. So I did go to their commission meeting. I encourage the other commissioners to go to these meetings because I've learned so much just hearing their problems. And so if there's vandalizing, if like in the skate park, if there's the cut fences, because the kids just love to just go into that, to Memorial Highway, or it's the highway, not just a drive. But I encourage everybody to do that because I've learned so much just by sitting in and listening to a board meeting. And they allowed me to do that Zoom, so it was really, I didn't have to leave and go and find someplace. But that was the only meeting that I did attend. And then that's all the report that I have. So the next item, 3.1. We have our wonderful Steve Loop from Public Works.
They're having a little issue with our video cameras. The one facing the dais isn't working, so let's see if we can get the PowerPoint up on the screen.
Great. All right, good afternoon, commissioners and new commissioners and members of the public. I'm Steve Loop with the Public Works Department at the County of San Benito, and we'll be discussing some of the items that were mentioned previously and a few others as well. So, item 3.1, we're going to discuss the status of the 2 bathrooms that the county have been working on. And I'll briefly mention the Babe Ruth restrooms as well, and then the parking lot striping improvements. So, as was noted, we do have 3, technically 4 punch list items to be completed for the bathroom near the skate park. And that's the one that was reddish and things. And so it's been remodeled. It's 98% done, but long story short, we don't want to open it till we have these 3 or 4 items finished from the contractor. They did say they would complete them in April. And thanks to Gina and some other folks for actually pointing out a couple improvements, lighting, and just the view of the restrooms themselves. So we were able to get those changes incorporated thanks to some input from some of the folks here. So thank you for that. But so the punch list items we've been told will be completed this month, and we're just trying to get the contractor back over to finish those up for the restroom near the skateboard park. Across the streets, picnic areas. So we had some budget left over from the original ARPA funding for this project to the tune of, I don't know, $30-ish thousand. So we're going to be completing some repairs to the roof, as well as adding some doors and partitions to that facility, so that it just adds a little more enhancement to the privacy for those restrooms across the street. And so that contractor is supposed to begin and finish by the end of May with the roof and the partitions. So I'll just continue on 3.1 and then we can pause for questions. So, okay. Before I jump into the parking lot surface and lighting, so as was mentioned by commissioners and league managers, presidents, if we can help somehow, some way with the Babe Ruth restrooms, we will. Obviously, the sewer and sewage type things are the city of Hollister, but if it's some maintenance or some roto-rootering or those type of things, we have folks that can help with, if the problem is near the building. We'll work with Sean or whoever needs to have some assistance with that. So put that out there as some assistance our maintenance crews can provide if it's located near the building. And then, okay, so jumping over to the parking lot. So we did the design, we revised the design per some input from some folks here. And the current estimated construction budget for the parking lot improvements is about 1.1 million. We originally had budgeted $740,000. ARPA is going to provide approximately $250,000. So what we did, and the 1 million, I'm just going to round down to $1 million for now, because we do build in some contingency to that. So we'll call it $1 million for the construction budget. Of that $1 million, about $300,000 is the new lighting, hard wiring, putting wires to connect to PG&E boxes and controllers and transformers and things like that. So in order to bring down the cost a little bit, Public Works, we reached out to a solar lighting company in January, and they gave us a quote. Instead of $320,000, it was, the lights could be $150,000, and that's on the high end. It might be a little bit less than that. So we're able to save, let's say it's 123.20, so roughly $200,000 by converting the lights to be solar lights and not hardwire lights. And they meet all the lighting standards. The only downside is if there isn't sunshine for a few days, then you wouldn't have lighting in the parking lot. But for summertime and for spring and summer ball, our determination is it should be more than sufficient. Actually, most of our solar projects work pretty much around the year, not 100% of the time, but almost. It's pretty close. So what we're doing is we're separating out the lighting to be a separate bid item. And so we'll do the hard wiring estimate and the solar light estimates, and we're asking 2 different contractors to provide quotes. And so hopefully we can get back around the $740,000 range, maybe it's $800,000. That delta is going to come from park impact funds. We do have park impact funds available, but between another park we want to build over off Southside Road, we're going to build a couple parks called Sunnyside Estates, and there's actually 2 parks over there. We actually have a Riverview Regional Park. So long story short, we are stretching our dollars pretty thin on park funds these days, but we'll get the 2 new bids in, and we'll proceed, assuming it's somewhere around 850, somewhere around there, which we think it will be for the bids from the 2 contractors. We're supposed to have a site walk. One's later this week and one's maybe the next following week, with 2 different contractors. And they're actually on-call contractors, so they can give us the bids typically within a couple weeks. And we'll go from there. So hopefully those bids come in reasonably, hopefully not up to $1 million with this new lighting change. And then we'll just have to coordinate with the folks here to when we can do, so our thought is we do this surface resurfacing we can do will be in 2 phases within 5 days total. And then the lighting, especially if it's solar, can come as a second phase. So that's kind of our thought, to do the surface striping with the 8A striping, as was mentioned earlier. And, the signs are there, but we're redoing the striping. We'll actually be putting in new signs. And so we'll do that as a first phase so we don't interfere with team operations. And then separately as a second phase, and the solar lights can actually get in within a week also separately. So we'll just have to coordinate with the leagues and make sure that we're not interfering with them to get the solar lights in, assuming it's solar lights is the way to go, but we think it is. And so I will pause there for questions and comments on 3.1.
Does anybody have any questions?
Steve, with this budget, does it include the second entrance and exit to the park?
Yeah, that was one of the changes we made, and it does have both those entrances. And they work, we worked with the City of Hollister. We got their layout for those pedestrian enhancements that they've installed so that this new driveway is offset a little ways from that. So I think the circulation will be much more improved.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any idea when we can expect to get those quotes back and maybe get moving on this?
Yeah, it depends on the contractor's bandwidth. They have said they are ready and willing to, both contractors, to build this, to do the surfacing. But I tend to not have a good crystal ball. So coordinate with the leagues. We definitely want to do it, now that the rain's gone and this and that I'm assuming we can get it done in the next couple months. Coordinate with the leagues and not interfering with the leagues and with the.
What is the timeline for them resurfacing? Do you know? Is it like a weekend project or
No,
is it?
it's 5 days for the resurfacing and then about roughly 5 days for the lighting. So just 5 days, 5 days. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So a total of 10 days?
Mhm.
Does anybody else have any questions? Because I have a few. I always have a few. So this project went from, I guess my concern is that the project went from being completed in April. The last meeting we had, it was supposed to be completed in April. Now, because we're being tied into other parks and we're going solar, when that wasn't brought us to in any way, shape, or form, it was brought to us solar. One of the busiest parks in town going solar, I'm not 100% for, because I know we're trying to save money, but this is a busy park and safety is huge. I don't know if I'm comfortable with it going solar, just because of, we may have a couple of days of clouds, and then if there's games, then we have no lighting. And so that's a huge concern for me. And the bathrooms, to me, across the street I think should be put onto the back burner, just because Babe Ruth is in dire straits right now they have a septic tank. So I'm not sure what condition the septic tank is in. And is that going to be on Babe Ruth or is that on the county? So that's a question there. Because I know Babe Ruth doesn't have the funds to do that. Is there any way to close that off and then, make it city? Run it to where it's city, because, it's just not fair for the Bambinos, and this is how I've been every time, is that an ADA bathroom, when you have an adult having to change their diapers in a porta potty, it's not acceptable. No other parent would have to do that with an adult. And that's frustrating that now I hear that they have porta potties when everybody else gets a bathroom. And so Just to me, it's like, what can we do to help them? To me, across the street isn't used as much as Babe Ruth and as the sports. So if it was my preference, it would be where Babe Ruth is taken care of first before the 30,000 or whatever, because everything is going to take, what I've learned about this position is everything you have to go in and get 2 quotes, and then it's 10, it's like 5 years later and I'm still getting quotes, and we've spent money on all of these different quotes, and it's just kind of, everything was supposed to be done, and we've been really recruiting all of the different organizations to be here, but I don't know how we're not moving fast enough. And like I said, I've been on this commission for 5 years, and we're not moving forward, and we're being bundled in with other parks that are taking priority over this park. And this park was donated by a family to be overseen by us, and I don't ever want them disappointed and regret giving us that property. And so whatever we can do to advocate to keep our kids safe, because it is the busiest. It's the busiest park in town, and so how do we get a little bit of priority of taking care of all of the youth that are using this park? So for me, I don't particularly care for solar because I haven't had really good experience with the ones that I've had, but and I know we need to save money, but when it comes to safety, would that be the best? Is that the best thing to do?
Okay, so I'll try to unpack those one by one. So we did, obviously the hardwire lights are preferable, just like you said. So that's why we're still keeping those in the bid with the solar lights. The solar folks, they give you an analysis of the weather, the sun, it's pretty detailed. They actually, I don't know if they have meteorologists, I'm not sure, but they give you a really, really detailed proposal on the functioning of the solar lights. So what I can do, and I think, I don't know, I guess I'll have to figure out the legality of this. We can send the bids, the 2 options to this Board of Commissioners or this commission here for their input. And I think, because you've already said, build this, you've given us permission to build it, Public Works, so we have that permission. So I can give you the bids and obtain your input on the 2 and we'll provide our recommendation for the solar versus non-solar when we receive the bids and see what the delta is. And again, we're not saying we're going to postpone this because of the budget. I just want to throw it out there that we're tight on budgets for all 3 projects. That's all I was saying. So, and then let's see. Okay, second item.
But I just have a quick question too.
Sure.
Does the lighting include anything in the parking lot over by the Tremors and by the skate park? Would this lighting be included with them too? Because they have practices at night too, and that is a dead zone, especially since the Briggs building is down. Since the Martha Briggs building, does that include where they'll have lighting over there as well?
So the lights they do cover the fence of the skateboard and that corner, but they're not meant to project into the skateboard park, if that's your question.
So there's nothing
they light
in
the whole parking lot.
That little parking lot over by Tremors, there's no lighting over there still?
Are you saying by the Briggs building parking lot?
Yeah, on that side, because that's where the Tremors park.
Correct.
nothing
That's
over
not
there.
part of this project, yeah. That's correct. And perhaps another meeting, commission, once we have this solar lights ordered, if we order the solar lights, perhaps, and I'll put this down as a reminder, we can order 1 more for that parking lot, because the nice thing about them is you drill the foundation, you put the pole up, and they're pretty much good to go almost instantly.
So where are the solar panels going to be located?
On the lights.
So they're not in the parking lot like big ones, they're just like individual for the lights?
Correct.
And how are we protecting them from softballs, from baseballs, and how are we protecting them from that?
They're not, so we would be on the hook we would be responsible to maintain them if a ball hit the solar panel. So they're about twice as big as this desk, but it's possible, I guess. So.
Oh, it's possible. These kids hit far.
Yes, they do, yes. So,
Okay.
so then jumping over to, let's see, the Babe Ruth restrooms. Again, we can assist. The county doesn't, for better or for worse, it's the Babe Ruth folks, thankfully, have decided, I don't know, years ago that they would maintain their facilities, their areas, and similar with the other teams here. So big kudos to all the managers and leagues and volunteers here. So that's why I said the county will volunteer. We can hire a contractor to, let's just say the septic tank needs to be cleaned, or, you know, we can have someone examine the pipe if Babe Ruth needs some assistance in that regard. So we can do that if, I know, if one of those two folks reach out to me, that's fine. It's not per the agreements of who's maintaining what. The county isn't maintaining the bathrooms or those facilities. However, we can help. So if they reach out to us, then we're happy to do that.
So Hollister Little League maintains their bathrooms? They take care of their own? What about Hollister Heat? Who maintains that bathroom, the one that we're upgrading? So I guess that's my question, is like everybody, I didn't realize each of them are in charge of their bathrooms.
So the three that the county maintains is the one that we've remodeled in the skateboard park, the little green one kind of in the center, and then the one across the street at the picnic table area. So those are the three that the county maintains.
Okay.
Being very new to this, it's just kind of sounds like there's a lot of who covers what. Do we have some sort of documentation that is showing who covers what and mapped it out, so that as a new commissioner, I can kind of better understand what is the role of the county, what's the role of the city, and what's the role of the teams?
So excellent question. I think it was a previous commission meeting. We searched in our records area. We found a binder, pretty thick binder of the city owns a park, now the county owns a park, the city owns a park, now the county maintains certain parts of the park, which is the parking lot and the bathrooms and the picnic tables. To answer your question, I can find a document that really quantifies, details some of those agreements of who's doing what, truly. So we can work on creating one, and with some of the help of the folks here, unless they know of an official agreement. Gina, do you know?
Well, I would just hope that, I mean, one of the things that we should set maybe as a future goal is updating all of these agreements and having the understanding of who does what. Because if we're up here, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm really new at this and I don't know enough to not know. But if we don't have clear understanding of everybody's roles and responsibilities, it makes this job almost impossible, because we're all going to be pointing fingers at each other. And I agree with the frustration that I'm hearing about how long it's taking, because I have the same issues on other projects that I won't go into right now. But we need to kind of come up with, you know, how are we all supporting each other? And if we don't have agreement, let's get current agreement. Let's get things documented and updated and negotiated, and make it where it's really clear what the county should be doing, and then how we can support the teams in the areas that they've taken on. That's my 2 cents.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're supposed to open a public comment, perhaps? Or?
Can I open it? So at this time, we're going to open for a public comment, right? She usually tells me.
Well,
when-
I think yes, but
I'm looking at her,
I'm
I'm
not the
like-
person that usually does that.
I'm like looking at her. Can you help me there?
Maria, would you like to open for public comment?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm waiting for her to tell me.
Robin Pollard, please approach the podium. Per my records, you'll have 5 minutes.
I know. Can you imagine having a meeting where you can actually get a complete thought out?
No, that's way too long.
I know.
I just came tonight because REACH, San Benito Parks Foundation, we are encouraging all parks. And anytime we see something that's going to improve any of our local parks, we want to come and cheer you on. The lights, the bathroom, the parking, all at Vets is in dire need, and it's sad that it takes so long, but I know you'll push it through, you'll get it done. Steve does a great job. He's juggling so many things, and I think that it will eventually be a very nice park. I mean, not that it's not nice now, but you know what I mean. So I want to I'll give you kudos for caring about local open space, because it's so valuable for our mental health, for our financial health of the community, for our physical health. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't have any more public speaker cards in chambers, and I don't have any hands raised via Zoom. Oh, it looks like, yes, please approach the podium and state your name for the record. You'll have 5 minutes.
Okay, really quick, I'm Gina Nadi. Here's the deal. The county does all the bathrooms, like he said. They come in once a week. Usually they have their routine. Heat has to clean it during the week because the usage is so high. The small bathroom in between a Little League and we call it Vet Small, that bathroom is in bad shape. They clean it, but it's not ADA. Very little out there is ADA compliant. I know Little League complained, so we did get 2 signs out there that show where to park for to be ADA compliant. However, I looked up there and maybe I missed something, but I want to make sure there's striping, which I'm sure there is, with the lighting. About the solar, they put some solar up on the restrooms. It's awesome. We put solar up in our playground area and around our building. It works well. So I just wanted to say that it really does work well. And I know you're concerned. I get it with the days that it doesn't, but we haven't had a problem with that so far. And the lights on the restroom are really bright. It actually goes out, I don't know how many feet, but when I'm out there shutting stuff off, I'm just like really thankful it's there, because it used to go black. So, and then I wanted to say, City Rec, we all worked really, really good together. Like your crew there, I just want everybody to know that you guys might not know, and I get you need a list, but we're all like a phone call away from each other, which I think gives prop to our community. And, Jerry Gallart's on speed dial, Alex is on speed dial. And, when a park isn't opened at the right time, we tell our heat families, okay, calm down, it's gonna open. And I think that's really important, that we don't become rigid and not our community like we are, because then that takes away from building what we're doing out there, where we do have 1,500 kids, and you can't go to many places where there's that many kids at any given Saturday, and people are getting along, and the fighting's minimal, and no one's flipping out. I mean, except the occasional competitive edge of parents. But even that, because we do work together, we have Little League daughters play softball. So we're total communication, While I'm listening to them, I'm like, man, what could we do to help them get their bathroom, right? The park across the street, it does need a better bathroom. They have so many families have parties there, and so that is really important. Regarding the lighting for the skate park, there's lighting inside the skate park that used to have a timer. From what I understand, City Rec cut that off because they were saying that, vandalism and whatnot. But and I know sometimes it's hard to see this, but if you include those skaters as their own community, because they're just as important as softball, baseball, whatever, and you include them and let them maybe be a part of the graffiti, then guess what? You don't have to cover it. And I've been out there talking to them, so that's a big deal. Let them do their murals. Let them have lights, and it's timed. They put the money in, but now, I don't know how long it's been, but, it goes dark. So if we make it inviting, they'll come, and they'll take care of their park just like we do, they do. Like I said, we're all in it together, So, props to everybody here, because it's been a long time, and I get really, really mad. But yeah, anyway, you know the deal. So thank you, but I hope that cleared up some of the stuff.
Sorry. Any other of my in-chamber guests? Okay, we have no more public comment in chambers or via Zoom.
Thank you.
So on that note, we'll start out with just a contact list of all the folks and the general roles and responsibilities. And so we can all just have a clear picture. But as we all mentioned, big kudos to all the volunteers because they really keep all the ball fields in great shape and working. And so, yeah. Okay, next item. Here we go. 3.2. Commission to consider request by Little League to add a recycling front loader unit, basically a new dumpster unit, to accommodate excessive cardboard generation. If approved, the commission would need to send an email confirmation to Recology in this regard. So Recology, in a very good way, they don't want to make any changes to their scope of work at Vets Park unless this commission approves it. And so we've kind of had that communication with them, and they reminded us, or we reminded them that yes, we want an email from a commissioner. It could be any of the commissioners really. It's nothing super formal, saying we'll allow a new front loader unit. And I was trying to reach out to Little League. I believe his name was Eric, and just to see where exactly they wanted the front loader. So my suggestion for the commission is we get a little exhibit of these areas. I put a couple areas zoomed in. I don't want to guess where they'd want it, but my suggestion is have Little League provide a markup where they want their front loader unit. I'll forward that to the commissioners, and then the commission can say yay or nay, yes or no in that regard. But hopefully, if the location is appropriate, then the commission would be amenable to having a unit where they just have a lot of cardboard they're generating, and Recology is not able to keep up with them, I guess, or maybe it's concessions and fun things like that. So I will pause there for questions. So.
Is there any questions? Is the dumpsters locked? Are they secured and only for this, or is it open to the community?
So depending on the size of the unit, some of them can be locked. I don't know the size, so I wish I could answer that. But the front loaders, a lot of them have this thick plastic. We can lock the top of it and unlock it. So if that's one of the requirements, then we can do that. So.
I wasn't asking for, I was just wondering, because if that's an added to where people go and use their, so that they have no room, that was the question. And then I guess the location would be, is it going to take away from any other parking because parking's a premium? Would that be it in the same area? Because I don't think it's where the other two are right now. Is there room for another one there? Do you know, I guess that's my question, is like, would it be in the same area? So
my guess is yes and no. We would not allow any more parkings to be impacted by that. So great point, because parking's already very impacted as it is. So we have to be outside the parking stalls.
So is this just like another large container?
Correct.
Is there any way they could keep it, and it would be only servicing Little League, or is it for all of the parks that are out there, or all of the organizations out there?
The request came from Little League. I don't see why other folks couldn't use it, but they just said we're just generating a lot of cardboard and we really need another unit.
Is there a cost to this?
No, they actually pay for the Recology bills themselves, so it wouldn't cost the county anything, if that's your question. So.
Yeah, no, I was just curious if it was going to cost us anything. Okay, kind of disappointing that there's no one here tonight from Little League.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
because that could have fixed everything right there.
yeah, no, it's great that we have all the other folks here, which is awesome. And but I'll reach out to them and send an email and show the location. And if the location is amenable to the commission, then we can move that forward per your direction. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, I'm okay with, because I know how that's so useful having and then having it overflow, and then everybody's going to take the trash out, and then they have to go chasing. So I'm okay with it. So I mean, if we just need a direction, I think that what would be helpful is if you send us the information of the location, and then we can just move forward from that point. Is
Sounds
that
good.
okay with everybody else?
Sounds good. Do we need
Okay. Yes, please.
public comment?
So can we open, if there's any public comment?
Okay, I actually have no public comment in chambers or via Zoom.
Okay, so moving on.
All right. And item 3.3, and Charles is still great. Okay, so City of Hollister, Parks and Rec, and their director, Charles, we met earlier, reached out just recently about the potential to have fireworks launch area kind of by the southerly area of the park near the school. And they requested this for their fireworks 4th of July celebration, I guess, but they want to launch fireworks from this area. And so they wanted input from the commission. And I just kind of generally indicated the area, but if Charles would like to come up again and provide any more context or details and a discussion for folks, have the Parks and Rec Director, Charles Wall, come up, please. Thank you.
Thank you again, Commission. Charles Wall, Parks and Recreation Director, City of Hollister. So this year, I'm sure you've all heard that the Hollister Independence Rally is coming back. That changes a lot for the City of Hollister, especially staffing-wise and what we're capable of doing that evening. And we want to make sure that our community has a fireworks display if possible. The airport's really out of the question for us because of the fact that you have to remove all the runway lights the day before that day, put them back in the same day, clean up and get all the airport back open and running again immediately. We just don't have staff for that. Looking at locations and speaking with our fire chief and inspectors and then also the fireworks company, this seems to be the best location if the county is willing to allow us and this commission is, open to that. The idea would be that shooting off from that south end towards Sunny Slope School is the widest area of that park. Also safest, they would shoot from the corner away from any homes. The fire department's quickly reviewed that, nothing in writing yet, saying that that would be a perfect location for said things. Also just looking for spots, and this is it. We're open to this commission's ideas, and we'd love your input on if you would want to open any of these fields up for viewing, or if you would rather not, and just leave it open to where people see it in town. So those are I'd love to hear your input and where you're at on this.
So does anybody have any questions?
My first question always goes to liability. Sorry, especially with the staff being stretched as far as they are for the bike rally. Would there be a liability waiver that the city would sign taking responsibility?
So
I'm assuming?
we already have that because but we would also get our event insurance,
Okay.
do all of the same things we would do for any event that we do anywhere. We're just looking for a location mostly. The only thing that, could be, if the county is willing, is some county staff out there, just simply traffic control or litter. We are thin. However, the park staff could be available for that. That's 3 to 4 people, not a lot. But for litter pickup, if we wanted to allow like a couple food trucks or anything like that, we could do that. But those are things we're open to, but also want your input to see if you're willing to do those kind of things.
So I haven't followed the city fireworks in a long time. Is this similar to what used to always be at Margarita Maze?
It would be very
It's very similar to that one, right?
that.
So
It wouldn't
that-
be an event.
Yeah,
per
okay.
se, right.
Okay, gotcha. My only thing is for viewing, I would recommend it being open for people to be able to be there and view and not have to do it from a distance because it makes it so much more enjoyable. If it's the one like Margarita Maze, I mean, they all bring their chairs and everybody sits out there. So it's a real nice event, so.
We'd love to see that.
So I guess I would love to hear from the leagues and see, you know, are they, and these are kind of their fields. I know we all work really well together, but I would want to be really respectful. You know, Babe Ruth, are you good with your park being open and people sitting in all of your stands? Hollister Little League, Heat, you know, how does everybody feel about that? So I guess I would like to hear from some of the organizations on if they're supportive of, I'm supportive of the event in general, just about kind of it being open. I think it's wonderful, but I just would want to be really respectful of all the relationships that we have. And so I just would curious how they feel about that.
You bet. And I think we can reach out, and if we want to each have discussions, we surely do that. Did want to come here first before doing too much.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And the other part is, even if someone felt sensitive about their fields, because I understand how much maintenance and love goes into those fields, we could just open the two city fields at least for people to picnic in or whatnot. So, you know, there's definitely options.
Yeah. Okay, great.
First and foremost, that's just what.
But yeah, please talk to the organizations that are out there. It'd be wonderful, you know, a big event,
bet.
everybody, but just want to make sure everybody's good with it.
Main part is with the short timeline and the public event permits and all those things. I just wanted to see if it's something you wanted to even consider having.
I mean, I know Little League used to have a huge fireworks show every year for opening ceremonies, and it was always really awesome. They shot them off from the Babe Ruth field, but it was something that everybody really looked forward to. And so I know it can be done out there safely and successfully. We just want to make sure that we're all being good neighbors.
And can I just, because you brought up a great point, I was only talking about the circled area. Is that circled area, so you were saying the other fields being open?
The circled area would actually be closed because that would be the
that
would be the firing safety zone. So the idea is basically the soccer fields is where they'd be firing from. Of course, they go out and they pick up all debris and so then basically the large field could be open for viewing. That end of the parking lot past the skate park could be opened up. Anything south of that would be closed just for the firing area.
Okay, well, I appreciate that clarification because I completely agree about the good neighbor part. Yeah, and if they're not open to having the fields open, if the parking area, because that's really what we did at Margarita Maze. We all were in the parking area right up against the school, and you're right, we never went out onto the field in that because it was the safe zone area. So
and we could open the large field, you know, if people wanted an area to picnic or so that's absolutely not a concern for me. And I don't know that we even need to affect or impede on all the other fields if the parking lot's open on that end and then our field as well.
And when you say our field, since I'm new, that's at the north end.
That's this large field here, right at the edge of the circle.
Oh, okay. So the west side.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Brian, do you have anything?
Present time, I have no comment.
Okay. So I have a few questions. First, tremors plays a big role in this because it could potentially hurt their grass that they maintain, especially because I'm not quite sure how is the ground cover, what's the ground cover as far as when the shells pop off, are they going to burn the grass and that kind of stuff? So we would really, they're huge, talking with them because that is their baby and how much time they put into it. The other thing is because we're so stretched in with the rally, is there going to be an engine dedicated for that? Because what my concerns are, the houses in the back, I was trying to find, when I saw this was on the agenda, I tried to look to see how many people had shake roofs. And are you going to notify the residents in the back? Because that means that they've got to clear their back. I mean, if some people aren't as diligent of doing, maintaining their backyards, because those backyards are really big, if they're not, are you going to give enough time notice to have them clear that out and make sure that that's safe. That was one of the other things that I have. Are you going to have an engine station there, an ambulance? And Steve, are we going to be able to have the second exit open by that time? Because when you have that many people in that area and having one exit, that's concerning to me. So that would absolutely have to be finished before I would feel comfortable at all saying, let's do this, because right now there's only one entrance to the park, and that's worrisome. And then my question was also the liability, the residents notified. I guess it's the unknown because we don't know how many people are going to be attending the rally, but it's concerning to me that we would be stretched thin for fire services. And because right now, for safety reasons, having the percentage of most of our law enforcement downtown, how are we going to secure and make sure that this other area where our residents are actually living, how are we going to maintain some sort of safety zone there for them? So those are a few of my main concerns, because everybody's going to be dedicated down at the downtown.
I can answer a few of those, and if I miss any, remind me, and I'll go back
Okay.
to those. So part of us going out and getting the signatures for the special event permit will be going to those neighbors. We'll let them know at that time that this is where the fireworks display will be. We'll make sure that then they know that they should clear anything out, although there will be a fire truck, a fire engine there. We always have that with the fireworks. They will always have one team out there for, that's if anything happens. So yes, there would be fire on scene. Then
An ambulance? And only reason is because when you have that clustered of a number of people, trying to get an ambulance there would be difficult. And so you can have, because we never know what the weather's going to be like with heat exhaustion, or, while because people will get there first thing at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they'll wait there all day long because they want that seat. That's what we've seen in the past. And so who would be there for safety, like immediately? Because what I would see would make sure that part of the parking lot is closed off so that seating could be on like half of the area, and then the rest of it could be parking. But because then you can get more people in the area, but with that comes with the congestion of the people. Are you going to do cement bollards? Those are just, for safety? Because I know when we did whenever we do the carnival, the request from Chief Bedoya was to have the cement bollard, so that I always try not to think of the worst case scenarios, but he liked those because then nobody could drive through traffic. And so that would be perfect if we had, how are we going to keep everybody safe, and having this is a seating area and this is a parking area, and then on the other side towards Babe Ruth, there's always that other exit that people can go out. So there's actually 2 exits over there, and over here we'd have one, so that an ambulance can be coming in and going, because if we had the second exit. So those are just.
we'll be using K-rails for every event we do.
Okay.
Basically moving forward. On the other hand, I would still hope that we could use the fields for the seating areas, even if it's just the city maintained fields. And then the parking lot would be parking areas. I can't, that's not saying people may not sit at their car or by their car, but that is a parking area at that point. That would be my take on the event. As far as the kind of the EMS crew, I would need to take that question back. I don't want to answer that not understanding what the city would like me to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's realistic to expect the parking lot and lighting to be complete by July. I'm just thinking it's possible, but we need 10 days of heat, Little League, and Babe Ruth. Well, Babe Ruth, you could get in and out. They'd probably be fine. But with Hollister Heat and Hollister Little League having no games, and the city of Hollister, your Parks and Rec, no games, I don't know that from now until July, is that realistic for the leagues to not have games for 10 days? It's pretty unlikely.
We won't impact any games. So if they say no go, then that's, so, I'm sorry. So is the question, will our surface parking lots affect games? No. That's why I mentioned, once we have a schedule from the contractor potentially working there, we will coordinate with the teams, but we won't impact their schedules or their games. So, and for 4th of July, I guess I missed the question, the first part about the parking lot versus the fireworks.
Well, Maria had mentioned, or Commissioner Spandrew had mentioned that she wasn't comfortable unless the second entrance was open. And so I'm asking, how realistic is it for the parking lot and the second entrance to be open prior to July 4th?
Okay, thanks for the clarification. And so perhaps I misinterpreted it, but there's a second entrance on Hillcrest that we've been looking at, and there's also a second entrance on Memorial that we've opened. So, but are you referring to the brand new second entrance?
Yes.
So it would be one of those other ones as far as the second entrance, the one that's on Memorial right by the bus stop that's already a driveway that we open up. And then I think we were looking at the one in Hillcrest as far.
That was a question, that one was already supposed to be open because there really shouldn't have been much, just the gate being opened, and that should have already been done. My concern is not having the parking lot, the second entrance with a condensed number of people in one entrance.
Okay.
That's a true concern because we only have one entrance in. And if there's any kind of panic, then there's going to be a jam. And there's no other way out.
I thought the second entrance was open now.
It is. The one on Memorial is open. We didn't open the one in Hillcrest for different reasons that we can talk about offline, but there's 2 entrances open on Memorial, like actual driveways. So.
But you won't be able to get all the way from by the skate park, all the way over to the other exit if there's a jam up in the middle. If there's panic or anything in the middle, then how do we get people to go all the way to the other side of the park? If we had another entrance by the skate park, then we can get people out of there. But if there's only really one entrance in the main parking lot, that's, to me, a security issue and a safety issue because there's one entrance and it takes one car to stall right there and then nobody can get out.
Correct.
So
the current layout of the parking lot is one entrance in the center. So if the question is, can we prioritize the new driveway before July 4th? Yes, if we get a contractor on board in the next few weeks, we can just have them focus on the driveway and the cut for that driveway. So that can be our priority, if that's the question. Yeah.
I mean, I would love to have it. I would love to have that there, but not having a second way in really worries me because I just see how congested when they have opening ceremonies and the parking lot is so full, and if there's kids running around, nobody's going to want to drive in there, and then there's just it's mass chaos. And so, I mean, if there could be a second one done before then.
Yeah, I would almost suggest too, I mean, I'm not an expert in safety. And so maybe part of the conversation, like as the commission, it's kind of like, hey, we've got some safety concerns, but overall we think this is wonderful. I don't want to speak for anybody. I'm just, speaking right here, but I don't mean this as a moving forward. This is from the commission. But we think this is exciting for the community and a great potentially opportunity, but I almost would feel better going and speaking with like the chief of police and the fire chief and making sure that they're all signed off on all safety concerns and that there's a plan in place. And I don't want to be the one that is deciding this. I am no expert in that field.
So as I explore this further, if you say that you would like us to explore this further, the fire and police are all included in the event permit application, and they have to sign off on it for it to even happen, if that helps the question. So they will be involved and they must sign off on the event to make it proceed.
Any other questions?
And if you do give direction that we could proceed, I will be reaching out to all of you, or someone from my team will, just to get your input, whether you want to include the fields, not include the fields. Of course, soccer will be a huge one, so we will talk through that. All of that will happen. I just wanted to make sure we're close first on your end.
So I'm comfortable with giving direction as long as the fire chief PD and sheriff are involved, and each of the organizations sign off on it, that they feel comfortable. Because my worry is that we're overextended. And if they don't feel like they're overextended, then I'm okay with whatever they want to do, because they're the experts. They truly are. And we all have our opinions about it all, but and then the bottom line is it's for the community. The only thing that I would strongly suggest is that we have that second entrance. And then I would feel completely comfortable with saying, please, let's do it. But having our partners here, I would appreciate them completely being in the loop with everything that's going on, so.
As our partners being part of this conversation, are we allowed to ask them up for input at this time, or because that is part of this?
So we can do that when it's public comment. So after this, we'll open it up to public comment.
Perfect, and I'll stay here for any
I
questions.
appreciate it, thank you. So at this time, if you can ask, we're going to do public comment on this.
Perfect.
Please.
So I'll just start from the notes I have here. Does Babe Ruth have any comments they would like to come up? Please come and speak into the microphone so we can get your comments on record.
Hi again, Jared Penzo, San Benito Babe Ruth. Just looking at this right away, Mrs. Sotelo made a fantastic point that Little League used to do this with the Little League opening ceremony firework, and they would utilize our field. And thinking about it, wouldn't it, and obviously we'd have to go back to our board and see if they're on board with it, but wouldn't it make the most sense to treat it almost like a pseudo opening ceremony, utilize the Little League fields for a picnic area, set up seating, and utilize our field, seeing as we have the most open ground, if that makes sense, with not having anybody around, make the Babe Ruth field the safety zone essentially. And if I remember correctly, based on the meeting that we had a few months ago, that second entrance on Memorial is supposed to be only for us. We're not supposed to treat that driveway as a driveway. We're supposed to pretend that is not there because there's too much foot traffic, if I remembered correctly. So if we are treating it like that, utilizing our Babe Ruth field as a safety zone, utilizing Little League field and maybe even the softball field. Obviously, I don't want to speak for Little League or Hollister Heat, but that would probably make the most sense because you can be right up next to it. You could see everything. You have that fence dividing everybody, and you have a dedicated safety zone where you can have a rig, you can have an ambulance, you can have the crew, the Hollister, the maintenance crew there for any pickup, debris, and whatnot. And it looks like they can easily get from our field, because there is a gate between the fields, Little League and Babe Ruth. They can come in and out if they need to do any crowd control, clean up mess, put out a headache. I don't want to use the F word, and whatnot. But that is my comment from San Benito Babe Ruth.
Thank you. Hollister Little League. Oh, sorry. Hollister Heat.
Did you want me to answer any of that?
So in between, if you had a response, I think it would be good because you'll remember his comments.
Yeah, of course.
So-
So that's a great idea as well. The only reason the firework company liked the larger area, it's wider down at this end of the park, if you notice. So instead of 3-inch mortars, they could do 4-inch mortars, which is just more attractive. So they liked that idea of it. But if it's just easier to go the other way, that's also an option. So as we're discussing this, I'm open to both.
Okay. Hollister Heat.
I'm Gina Nottigan with Hollister Heat. I like Penzo's idea just for the flow of everything, because you can use the soccer field as seating for everybody. It's a big, beautiful area. That's just a thought. I'll jump on whatever board works on it. But I really think that everybody needs to be on board, not just city will open 2 parks, because the overflow will then go into our parks, and then we're responsible for cleaning them. And just the carnival, everybody just makes a mess and then they leave. So I'm all for it, but I think we all need to work together just so that it's done the right way. And it's totally like the flow's good. And I get your spot of double exit. Again, this would be like a, to discuss with him and whoever else is interested. I don't think we need a bunch of cars in that parking lot. Hollister's really big, and the majority of the people that come, you know, you would hope would bring the chairs and stuff, and they would use the fields also, and then maybe, hey, you can get your bathroom out of it and do vending and stuff. Dude, it's a win-win for everybody, you know? Like, our park can only get better if we, like, let the people that use, you know, like Little League, soccer, and Babe Ruth, maybe do the vending, do all that stuff. And because we have the manpower, and then we give back to the park where we fall short somewhere, and, you know, I don't know, working together does wonders. So that's it.
To that, I will give a little applause because that's wonderful. I think the community engagement, involvement of all the leagues, and especially if you allow the vending and to almost, I mean, as long as what I would ask is we give free access to people, but if you want to vend, then you charge for that, just so it is a free community event. I think that's wonderful. And I think then if we're all out there even managing our own areas, then there's a lot more engagement. You could do some outreach as well. I love it. So thank you.
And Tremors?
Bryce Munzer with Tremors. So a couple concerns that I have with using the fireworks there is what kind of equipment is going to be going onto the field. So 2 months out of the year, we close the fields completely. So July being one of them. There's so much impact that we have to aerate, seed, and everything. And July is the month we typically close. So I'm not really a big fan of opening up to where people can picnic and hang out there because we have such new seed out there. Depending what kind of equipment, I'm not really too concerned about the fireworks going off and burning the grass. That isn't going to be an issue, but it's more what kind of equipment they're going to be going out there with, pickups, because they can't have any pickups going onto the fields because we do quite a bit heavy watering, and if a vehicle drives out there, we'll end up with 2 to 4 inch ruts and trying to get the vehicles out of there. And those end up costing us thousands of dollars anytime, like we have the phone towers there, and once in a while those vehicles will drive on the field. It costs a lot to maintain that. That Tremors takes care of for itself. The other issue is anytime there's an event out there, unlike a lot of the other clubs, we do not have bathrooms. We have porta potties. So when the high school has the carnival, we typically end up with burned up porta potties. We have gotten a fence all the way around there, and the high school has put security out there, so it's helped. But it'd be an issue of if there's damages out to our field, who's going to be responsible for maintaining that? And I think if it's the company doing pyrotechnics out there, they'll have high security, so I don't see that being an issue if they do the rounds off of that area. My other big concern is I was already told by Hollister City that this is already approved. I just heard this week. The fire chief signed off on it. So, and I thought that was kind of funny when I heard it this week because I'm like, well, I had a pretty good idea they were looking at the Tremors because that makes the most sense to fire the fireworks from there. So trying to figure that part of it out. And then to assume that there's going to be fire equipment and EMS standby when we're starting up the 4th of July rally. Every time we've ever supported the 4th of July rally, our first responders are completely inundated. And with the current state of the first responders here, I can't see them staffing up that much extra equipment with the budget constraints of Hollister City right now, 4th of July. And most of those resources are going to be downtown where a lot of the real EMS issues are going to be going on. So even if they have the full intent of putting stuff over there, I would imagine that those resources would be pulled out of there rather quickly. So I think it is a good event to have something set up, but just make sure our biggest concern is just damage to our fields that time of the year. So if we can make sure those are addressed and we're keeping any pickups or anything from the contractor off, and it's just them walking around and not people camping or setting up picnics out there. So we aren't destroying those fields as we're trying to get them ready for the fall season.
So to address the approved statement, I don't know that anything's approved yet. Of course, there's been discussions about this, so who knows where that came from, you know how things go. But that goes, well-watered lawns is actually perfect for that type of thing, because you're right, there would be no people out there, no equipment. If we put any damage on the firework contractor, that would indemnify all essentially for that. As far as the fire crew, the time before the firing and after, they have to be there. So we will have that. As far as EMS, the EMS will be downtown. That's why I don't want to answer that question right off, because it would probably mean hiring another unit for that event, and I want to see where the city's at before saying yes or no to that. But on that note too, you know, that might take us back to firing from that end and going the other way, so.
So there's other public comments here.
Please approach the podium and state your name for the record. You'll have 5 minutes.
George Nava, I'm with the American Legion and the VFW. I'm looking at this map up here, and I think the way it shows, they're going to be shooting their fireworks from most of the school area. Is that right?
It would be on the other side of the fence.
On that side of the
Yes.
fence? Oh, the soccer field. Okay. I thought it was going to be down in this area. Okay.
Well, and we could look at that, honestly. But then we have to approach. We could look at that, but we'd had to then approach the school, and then that's a whole other layer of insurance and other things that it gets very deep. And so if we can do if we can do the soccer fields, it really eases a lot up.
And Robin Pollard, please approach the podium.
Good evening. This is the main reason why I came down tonight. Not that I didn't want to support Betts Park. Wanted to say something nice about it. But so having lived on Park Hill, I have watched families try to get out to the airport and watch the fireworks from their cars because they can't ever get in there. And if you allow this to be at Memorial Park, people can actually stay home or walk there, and it would be so much nicer for the community, especially with all the motorcycles in town. I mean, yes, there's some things that need to be worked out, but I just want you to know that it would be fabulous for the community to have the fireworks show there. And since the Little League has done it for years, there really shouldn't be too big of a hurdle. So thank you.
I'm here for any follow-up questions or any ideas you may have.
So the other thing that I would request is that we have a lot of veterans in town, over 2,500, and how are you going to, I would ask that you put out on social media to prepare them, because these booms are bad and this puts a lot of people over the edge. And so I would really hope that you would make sure that, you know, because a lot of our older generation, they don't do a lot of social media. So how are we going to connect with the veterans that maybe not be on Facebook, which it seems like that's Hollister, but how are you going to connect with other veterans to let them know, get prepared, because there's going to be booms in town, right above a residential area. I guess that's the other, because I know, you know, it's hard to not see it at 4th of July. You see all these people saying, okay, well, there's another illegal. Oh my gosh, I wish they'd stop. But how are we going to, I guess we have to put a positive spin on this somehow and just let our veteran community, I mean, we could do our best of letting everybody know, but I just, maybe do like a little feed special for veterans, and not that we need preferential treatment, but some of this booms really, startle them. Even a balloon popping really puts them over the edge. And so a little bit concerted effort to make sure to get to that community would be really appreciated. So
Understanding the Facebook comment, TikTok. We'll get on. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
I'm like, I don't even have TikTok, so.
You have a park director up there. I'm going to be a little silly. No, for real though. I think that's very important. And what I would ask is, we have some great veterans organizations in town and in the room. And as part of this community event, if you could help us spread that word, and of course we will do it on social media because that's our main avenue. But with these agencies in town, I think that that's a great place that we can partner up and get that word out and understanding that need.
Appreciate it. Anything else?
My only end comment is because you brought up how many illegal fireworks there are. I mean, I'm sorry, from where I live, I rate them.
We all do.
And it's the west side versus the east side. And I got to tell you, the west side is really intense with their fireworks. But can we use this kind of as hey, keep our community safe, don't do illegal fireworks, do a kind of a safe-wise campaign on Firewise and say, come to this event, enjoy the fireworks safely in our community, and try and spread the word not to have the illegals. And the illegal fireworks are amazing. I appreciate them, but I also listen to the number of alarms that go off, and the fire trucks are running all over the place. And I mean, it's an area where we need more community outreach and education. And if we can spin this, like you're saying, take a bad situation and try and spin it into a good, maybe we could reduce how much we have on the illegal fireworks.
Love that idea as well. And what I would ask is, yes, I think the city's very open to that. And I would hope that the county would partner in that, since this is kind of the main hub of the area. And then maybe we really could do some work together. And if you put me in contact with who you'd like that county representative to be, I would love to do that. Okay.
So we have one other public comment over here.
Are you on behalf of Tremors or public comment? Okay.
August Igmanovi with Tremors. Quick question on the parking situation. I know you guys were concerned about the flow and things like that. My thought was, what if we cut off parking after that first big field, so that second field coming towards the grass area where the soccer fields are? So that way we'd have additional picnic area, people want to hang out with their chairs, and they have all the baseball fields there and softball fields. That'll limit the number of cars that have to go in and out, and it only has a small space, but we can use Sunny Slope Elementary School for parking or other neighborhood areas for parking, and really encourage the walk to the event. I've done the airport event, and yeah, we're sitting out of the back of my truck trying to watch the fireworks, where we could just walk to an area and hang out with the rest of our community in a safer zone versus the side of the street. Maybe encouraging that as something, as an alternative with some help with the city and everybody else. So just a thought.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for your time this evening. I just realized I'm 8 minutes late for my city council meeting. I have 3 agenda items tonight, so I need to run. Please consider this, and maybe Steve could reach out to me and let me know what you all think. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and per the last suggestion, we can definitely close off, say, a third of the parking lot and just leave that more open to seating, if that's what is decided as we move forward with this. So it's a good idea.
Because if we do that part where people can sit, then then we have an entrance. And I mean, I still would like the second one, but.
Well, we'll still move
see.
forward with putting the second driveway in as requested ASAP. But yeah, just saying, if as we move forward, we could quarantine off that, say, a third of the north parking lot for extra seating and things, if it makes sense. And yeah, and then I'll forward our county PIO's information to Charles, and we should all put the word out if this is going to move forward as requested. So yeah.
So is that all the public comment?
Yes, Chair. There's no more public comment in chambers or via Zoom.
Thank you. So you're looking for direction to move forward with the what I'm looking for is a consensus of moving forward, but making sure that in this direction, that each of the entities are involved some way, shape, or form. And then do we have a time limit so that we can say, if you don't make a decision and you don't get a consensus at this time, that it can't happen? So if all of the parties aren't in favor of moving forward, what would be the percentage of like you move forward or you don't? So what do we, at some point, we're going to have to say, we have to give them a time limit to get a consensus and talk with everybody. So by May 15th.
I don't know all the things that need to line up to make a fireworks display show happen. And so I don't know, permits, I don't know all of the timelines. So I would say sooner than later, but,
I just don't want I want them all included in this
yeah, no,
beforehand.
absolutely, 100%. I totally agree with you.
And if they don't feel comfortable, then we can't move forward. So,
Chair, if I may, your next meeting isn't until July 7th, so you might decide if you want to schedule a special meeting
we probably
to
should do a
return
special
with this item.
Maybe the beginning
Most
of May.
yeah. Yes, I think beginning of May.
So I'm gonna look
Or
at
what can you have?
let me look at the board calendar here, and I'll tell you what's available, and we'll see what your schedule looks like. May. So you said in May, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Mondays, it looks like it's actually open every Monday. So what Monday of that month would work for you folks? And it would be at 5 p.m. our usual time.
So I don't know if we can get anybody here on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
I don't think we would be able to do that. So I think the earliest would be maybe May 12th. May 12th?
Okay, so we will schedule a special meeting for Monday, May 12th to review this item.
Now, if the City of Hollister Parks and Rec, if they need, again, we're dealing with somebody that's dealing with all the logistics, and if their timeline doesn't work with that, I think we have to possibly look at maybe coming back sooner. Or if there's a way that they can maybe work with staff, like work with Steve, and Steve, you would mark off that all the organizations have been contacted, they've signed off or something. I'd also don't want to hold up the process if by chance the city says, well, I got to get on it by, within 2 weeks. I want to be respectful of trying to work with everybody.
So one of the things that this has to be, because normally the process we did with the carnival when we initially started this was that because it was something new, we had to go to the Board of Supervisors. Would this be one of those things where we would approve it and then it has to go to the Board of Supervisors to get approved? Reason being is because then that pushes their timeline, because then they have to wait for the next meeting of the Board of Supervisors. Is that something this commission can decide, or do we have to have approval by the Board of Supervisors as well?
Well, I've definitely read one document in that stack of documents that says the commission has authority to determine the use of the property. So I think this commission has that ability.
And we have 2 supervisors here, but I just don't want to overstep to where, because that was the process.
You could also,
So that was the only question, is because before, when we did the carnival, they did make us go to a Board of Supervisors and do a presentation. So if we can give the authority, then that will help them with permitting, getting it expedited. But, so what is the process is what I'm
so we could verify with legal counsel on that. You could also, I believe, instead of scheduling a special meeting, designate the chair to review that all of these items have been signed off on, and then let her sign off on the item outside of a special meeting. So Steve would work with you, Maria, and with the city, and with all of the leagues, and then we would come straight to you, Maria, with all of that instead of a special meeting, and you would be able to say yes or no, if the commission would like to designate you the authority on that matter.
That works for me, if you're okay with that responsibility.
I'm okay, because, Steve will make sure we.
And I will say, just speaking for, it being a new event and a carnival, they have done fireworks out at the Little League Park for years. They don't do it anymore, but years they were doing it. So for me, that's not a new thing. So I would maybe, if you're going to ask council about it, I would let them know that there have been firework, not on 4th of July, but there have been firework displays out there previously. So it's not technically a
Not really
new,
new.
it would be new that it's the 4th of July.
Good point.
I totally agree and would second that with legal, making sure that we don't have to jump through any other hoops.
So that would be the direction.
So I think we need to make a motion at the very least to designate Maria as the authority to either approve or disapprove this once we work further with the city of Hollister.
So I make a motion to have Commissioner Spandry be the, what are we calling, sign off to be the Vets Park representative for the 4th of July fireworks event and ensure that all of the organizations have signed off and that all of the safety concerns have been dealt with.
I would second that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, hear none. Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. So the next item is future agenda items. So I know I have one that I'd like to on here. I currently know that I've had multiple conversations with the VFW from San Juan Bautista, and they're just, I don't know if it's membership or the lack of understanding and how important the commission is. But what I would like to see is having another veteran organization take the other seat, which would be American Legion Riders. With that said, Riders and inside the Riders, let me explain. So you have American Legion, and then you have the Riders, and then you have the Sons of the Riders. And so the difference with those are they're all umbrellaed underneath. With what I would ask is that it could be from American Legion Riders, but they have to be a veteran, because inside that organization could be somebody that is like a son or a daughter or somebody like that. But I would request that another veteran from another organization take the place of San Juan. And reason being is because I've been asking since Mr. St. Paul stepped down, and they've declined we'll do it, but we haven't done it yet. And so to have that seat vacant for so long, and I've done my due diligence of asking, and it just doesn't seem like they want to fill the position because they're not in town. That was one of the comments I received. So what I'm asking is that we approach American Legion Riders and ask them to give us a veteran to fulfill that veteran slot.
Now, would this require a bylaw update because of the formation of the commission?
Possibly, yes.
Yeah, I would just add that to your future agenda item. And I did reach out to Mayor Jordan to see if she could gain some support on this, and she was going to look into it too.
Okay. So I've done my asks, but that would be the other thing is that I know there was, I just don't want to have the seat vacant. And so another American, and we only have one, we had 2 VFW members in this because one was from another city. And so being that there's only one VFW in here and we have multiple in the city of Hollister, then that was the reason why I was going to ask the American Legion Riders if we could ask them to have that part of their committees of having a veteran. So, but that was my reasoning for that. So that a future item, if we can do a follow-up on that. The second one would be nominations for chair as well, again. And vice chair, yes.
And we'll add a continuing item on the agenda for our leagues to provide an update at every meeting.
Yes, please. And do you have, and then I guess making sure that we have contacts for everybody. Later on, follow up with us and let me see if I can, because I have to find out who Hollister Little League is, because the unfortunate thing is everybody changes every year. And so if they're not updating us, how do we get information? So that could be, we need to reach out to them again and say, every year it's your responsibility to come and give us information, who is your current board and your schedules. So that's something that we have to maybe give an update on about the roles and the responsibilities. And anything else? So I guess there was one activity that I'd really like to see back. So the VFW did a special needs carnival in August. Will VFW be doing it again?
Yes.
So that's amazing. So we appreciate your guys' patience with us doing all these extra little things, but with the way you allow us to reach out to the different communities and different groups of people, it just makes it so much easier. So every time you get a text from me, I'm sorry, but it's just, we want to make sure to keep you included. And so by you allowing us to do this one activity here and the carnival and all these, it just makes a huge impact on our community. So we appreciate you. I just want you to know that. And I know it's a volunteer position, but thank you. So anything else on the agenda, or is that it?
It's just adjournment. Do any of the other commissioners have any announcements? Okay, so you can go ahead and adjourn the meeting if you're ready.
So I'd like to adjourn get a motion to adjourn at 6:52. Awesome. Thank you. Oh, yeah, huh? George, aye. Thank you, guys.
Okay, that's a 4-0 for adjourning. Thank you, everyone.
We are on something.